with it, with that stock distributor on with the aftermarket ECU. So instead of doing that, I was looking up how to go coil unplug with that ECU on my brother's engine setup, and I found out how, and it's much cheaper to do it that way. It's much cheaper to go coil unplug than to go buy a new distributor and then try to still find out the issue why it's not getting spark. So going coil pack seems like the route. So we're gonna go get some coils, K series coils. As a matter of fact, I'm able to use those on his setup, I found out. And the good thing is I'm already coil unplugged, so we're gonna go get some junks, and when we get back I can test them out on my car to make sure they work properly. That way when we try them on his, if it's still not getting spark, then we have another issue, and it won't be the coil packs. So it'll eliminate the coil pack being an issue, so that way I know they'll work and everything will be good. So we can go get that and the other part too, but I need to get a 30mm 1/2" socket just in case I need it. Alright, so I forgot to take the GoPro into the junks, left it in the car, but got what I needed plus another part. So got the coil packs here, and then I got a speed sensor. I found an EF hatch. Got the stock speed sensor off it. I have a DA one, and it has like a pump built into it with 2 outlets for an oil cooler, but I don't need all that, so I just have like the line looped, or the two outlets. I have it looped with the hose, and this will pretty much delete all that, and it will look a lot slimmer and clean up the bay on that side a little bit. But got the coil packs here for 240. And I'm gonna throw his spark plugs back in, or just one at least, so I could test it out, see how far up they can stick out. Just gotta find something to hold this up. We're gonna get rid of those spark wires. Should have brought the Dizzy, I left it at home. But yeah, get rid of those spark wires. Find something to hold this up. Might as well put the pole from the jack. It's not that high, but I mean, I just gotta get in here to. We're just gonna test out. Well, since we're just testing one, just take out that one, put the plug back in it. I don't need to tighten it all the way down, because I'm just gonna test to see how high one of these sits. I'm probably gonna have to make a plate for it for sure, but let me get that out of the way. It's gonna be in our way. That actually doesn't sit too bad. It ain't too high up. It's almost touching the valve cover. I wonder what we could trim to see if we could. Want it to sit flush like that all the way down. That would look sick. Cause this one has no spark plug in it, so it's gonna go all the way down. But that's how I want it to sit. barely, by a little bit. And it feels like the plug's not hitting the Alright, you take this off. I've done this with previous ones, but for my car, take that little boot off, and there's a spring in there. Obviously we need that because it leads to the inner coils and lets the spark go through and all that. But I know that we could trim this down and then still put this back on, because this, I believe it's hitting this, and that's what stops it from going down more. So just by taking off this, let's see if it went down a little more, or if it'll go down a little more. It looks about the same. Can't really tell. Well, let's see. See if it's bottoming out on the tip first, or if it's actually hitting this. So we'll put the seal back on. Put that back on there. So it hits it there. I just don't know if the tip of the spark plug is completely compressing that coil and just bottoming out, or which I think it is, because that right there, that's bottomed out right there. So that's all the way. And then plus this, that's really nothing. It's just like a little, that's what seals that. So I don't know, we might just have to run it like that. If it was hitting this first before this bottomed out inside, then we could have trimmed it and it would have sat lower, but we can't on this setup. So I'm gonna have to run it like that. Convert my bro to coil on plug. Switch up to the coil on plug gang. No distributors around here. Dude, that'll look sick. Coil on plug. I don't know which way we'll set them up. Could pretty much set them up in any orientation, because I'm gonna make the harness for these, and we'll be able to wire these coils directly to his ECU. His ECU is compatible with these. These are a 5-volt trigger input, and the ECU outputs that exact signal. So distributorless, well, at least cap and rotor wise and spark wire wise. Dizzy's still gonna be in there because we need the sensor in it, so I could tell the ECU what the engine position it's in, and then it'll fire these. Cool. So they fit pretty darn perfect. Now that we got those test fitted, we'll work on the harness later, and then need to tighten that. And pretty much we'll just take these off already, because I already know this is gonna work. I've read up on it and I keep reading up on it, and it seems pretty straightforward to do. Look, that already looks cleaner. Imagine with coil packs right there. And we could delete these brackets as well. We'll probably use it. We'll use one of them for the wideband, I guess we could. Solid. And the speed sensor, I'll put it in whenever I have time. Probably whenever I do a transmission fluid change, since that's where I fill it from the speed sensor. Once I pop that old one out, I'll throw it out. I mean, this one's not new, but pop this different style one in, and we'll be good. Alright, so since my hatch is coil unplugged, that means I could throw these on, because I've had K-series ones on before. So I'm going to throw those on just to test them, make sure they're working good. That way we don't have any issues when we're trying them on my brother's car. And once I find out they're good, wiring starts. Make a whole complete harness for them. And make sure I get some good plugs so I can plug into the ECU good. And so they could last long. And then before I do that, I want to show you guys something. It's gonna be for the hatch. Alright. The hatch currently has a B18 B1 with a 1992 Acura Integra LS transmission. And pretty soon I want to convert it to all-wheel drive. So I'm very close to accumulating all the parts for it. I believe there's a couple things I'm missing, but I'm going to show you guys what I have. And so you guys could know what to expect in the upcoming videos. So I'm going to be working on an all-wheel drive setup for the EF. And I'm super stoked on it because I just want to do it for the experience. And because, dude, that would be sick. All-wheel drive EF. And I got a sticker too, but it's about all-wheel drive and about something else. But I'll show you guys that like way later on. That's another thing. But that sticker will complete the hatch later on once it's looking good. But check it out. So I got the rear diff off CRV, drive shaft off a Honda Element, shift box, shift cables, CRV transmission with the PEP 5-speed manual transfer case, as well as a half shaft. And then this bracket, it stabilizes the transfer case to the block, that way it don't cause too much vibrations. And transmission came with the starter as well. And then I'm currently still in the process of making the trailing arms, but more or less this is what they're gonna look like. So this trailing arm was off of a, I believe, like a 98 EK rear drum brakes, and I got the rear hubs off of CRV, and that will let me put a axle in the rear. So I just got it kind of in there for now. Got it cut out, the axle fits. I still got to finish it. I still got some plates I'm gonna make. So I'm still working on trailing arms. I just been pretty busy with other stuff. But this one's been sitting here for the longest time. The other one, I have it at home. It doesn't have the hub on it because I took off the hub to take some measurements. And then I got the rear axle. I believe this is to center the diff in the hatch, you got to use the two short axles off the CRV. And back then when I got the hubs, the diff, and the axles together. But I got this is a short axle, and then the long axle, it's right here. I have it, but I'm not gonna use that one because I need two short axles to center this diff. But other than that, this is majority of the most important parts. Slowly getting there. Gonna need a transmission mount, probably custom or something. I'm not sure about that yet. And then a T-bracket. I have the T-bracket for it here, but obviously this is for when it's in the CRV. So either I gotta order the Hasport or make my own mount, make my own T-bracket, I mean. But this tranny's good. I shifted it, shifts through all gears, spins good, no funny noises, anything. Transfer case spins as well. I forgot when it was, but it was like probably a month ago, or not even yeah, probably a month ago. I think when I got the drive shaft, I hooked it all up. So I hooked up the drive shaft to the transfer case, and then I hooked up the other end of the drive shaft to the diff, and then I spun it over there in the first gear, and everything spun perfectly fine with no issues. I mean, testing it out here is one thing, but once it's in the car, there's gonna be pressure on everything. So later on, when it's in the car, we'll test it again. So we gotta go throw these coils on, test them on the way home. If they're good, they're good. And then I wanted to work on this shifter, or this shift box, I should say. This is the one off the CRV. These tend to sit pretty tall, but I mean, I don't mind it. I could probably hide it with the center console and a boot. Make it look kind of stock. I don't mind that. The only thing I don't like is the actual shifter. I don't like the band, and you're sitting right here, shifter's over here. It's kind of angled more towards the driver. So in the hatch, it'd be a little too close. So I want to try to see if I could make a custom shifter for this box that'll just be straight up. That way, wherever I position this, the shifter is going to be straight out of there. So I'm going to take this home, take a look at it, take it apart, and see what I can come up with. But that's it right there. All-wheel drive parts for the hatch. I mean, I'm excited, but also nervous. Never done this much fabrication to that car before. But, I mean, I'm going to take it one step at a time. My goal is to do the trailing arms first. So get the trailing arms done. Get a way to have them converted to rear disc brake. And then once they fit, once they're done, I'm gonna test fit them on the car, and then I'm gonna get see which side goes in. This side. So probably off the long axle that I don't need, I'm gonna get the axle stub and put it in here once it's done, just so I could throw these trailing arms on and put the axle stub on. That way the bearing's not wobbly and it has compression. And that way I could test all the trailing arms, make sure everything's good in the rear. Possibly get it aligned just to get the rear trailing arms within the spec already. And then there was one other thing I was about to say right now. I forgot already. Oh, that's right. So these trailing arms, well, the trailing arms we're making and the hubs I got since CRV, the hatch is going to be going 5-leg. So that's going to give me a lot more options for some wheels. So I'm also stoked on that as well. All-wheel drive and 5-leg at the same time. That's going to be sick. So once I get trailing arms done, test fit those, work my way up from there, install a diff, install axles with it, and then make sure everything's good with that when I drive it. Make sure nothing's binding, make sure it just spins well. And then once the rear's done, I wanted to swap in the transmission and make the custom mounts it needs. If I need to make them, or I could just order them. And then make sure the front's all good. So I'm gonna drive it around with obviously with the front wheel drive first, and then once it's time to put the drive shaft, I'll get to feel the all-wheel drive or real-time all-wheel drive, whatever. But it's more like a rear wheel assist, because this diff has clutch packs and they only engage when they'll detect slip from the front. So we're gonna use it like that first, because that's how the CRVs come. So I wanted to run this setup how it is stock in the CRV, I should say. That way we could just get this. That way I could just get the setup complete, and the car could be fully converted already. And then once it's fully converted, I'll work my way up from there. Probably upgrade that diff, make it locked full time, and then add a viscous coupler to the drive shaft, and just make it actually like full time all-wheel drive. Slowly we'll work our way up. So I'm gonna take those coil packs, take this shift box, and then we'll see what it do. But that's it for this one. I mean, stay tuned for the next video. Probably get this thing running. So if you made it this far, I mean, leave a comment, like, subscribe, something, you know. I just want some feedback to see what people like to see, or what you guys like to see, for those of you who watch. And if you guys know anything about all-wheel drive setups as well, drop a comment about that. I know some knowledge of this, but I want to gain more. I want to gain as much knowledge as I can about how all this stuff works and how I can make it work the best. But for now, that's what it is right here. EF hatch, all-wheel drive. Peace.